It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, November the 7th. Good morning. Led Zeppelin from their final studio album, Into the Outdoor. That was Fool in the Rain. And that, my friends, is what's called swingin'. That's some rock and roll drumming that we've not heard anything like that quite since. John Bonham just delivering the goods. Into the Outdoor, the final studio album Led Zeppelin recorded and released while Bonzo was alive. And deservedly so. A lot of people take shots at it. I think it's the weakest Led Zeppelin album. But then again, when you've got Fool in the Rain right there, yeah, I'm cool with it. That drum groove, the Purdy Shuffle, named after Bernard Purdy, the great drummer, he kind of did that halftime swing groove the first. And Bonzo just took it and said, yeah, I got an idea what to do with this. And my God, do I love that drum track. Because I'll go back and you can listen to any number of Bonzo tracks. If you're a Rush fan, you can find Neil Peart, just the drums. Not that you need to hear it because they're so loud in the mix necessarily. But Beatles stuff, I tell you, a lot of people suddenly go, oh, Ringo's actually amazing when you just hear the drum tracks on their own. Anyway, that's the way I like to start a day like that. Call me crazy. That puts me in one hell of a mood. Hey, you know what we got going on the show today besides me talking endlessly about drumming and rock salt on Irish food? We've got, correct me if I'm wrong, Candace Wheeler, but I believe John Densmore is calling this show today.
You're welcome.
John Densmore, drummer for a band called what are they called? The Doors?
The Windows.
Wow. That's kind of cool.
Wow.
A man I've also ripped off countless times, never met him, never spoken to him. I can't wait.
Yeah, he's a doll.
Well, he's a hell of a drummer. I'm one of those kind of people that always says, I'm 50-50 with the Doors. You know, I love it or hate it, but I always like the band, which is my way of saying sometimes Jim gets a little bit much for me.
I just think it's funny because there's people that don't like the Doors and they think they're so cool when they say that out loud. And it's just very frustrating and entertaining to hear.
What's the funny part?
That they think that they're so cool that they hate something.
Nice.
So amazing and perfect.
Yeah, that's called being from 12 to like 31 for most people. And then you finally go, oh, screw it, I like it.
But then grown adults, and I know a handful of grown adults that love to tell me how much they hate the Doors. And it's like, you know that I have Jim Morrison tattooed on my body, right?
Maybe they just hate doors.
Maybe.
Maybe you're confused. I don't know. It's some tough news this morning, gang.
I knew a guy that loved doors but hated hinges, and his entire life was very tough for him to get through the day.
Okay.
There we have it.
All right.
Hey, there's a pretty good basketball team in the Twin Cities. The Minnesota Timberwolves last night gave the Celtics their first loss of the season. In overtime, the Ant-Man came in for 38 points. And Tony Lee and I were on hand for all the festivities. Did you get any sleep last night, Tony?
I just got a couple non-quality hours.
Yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, it was worth it,
We
though.
got out of there. It was, it's late in the fourth, and the T-Wolves get a little tight in those last couple minutes, and I'm like, all right, let's bounce. And then I'm like, no, come on, we've made it this long. And then it goes to overtime, and then they blow the Celtics out. But then you don't want to leave early when they're going to get the win, which is a good win. The Celtics are as good a team as there is in the league right now. So it was a lot of fun. Although, what did we have, 40 minutes where we just sat in the ramp?
Oh,
Good,
leaving
solid.
was, I don't understand that way. You sit motionless, and then all of a sudden it moves.
Well, if you would have taken me, I would have got you out of there in like 2 seconds because I know what I'm doing.
Oh, really?
Gorman's only been here like half a year?
No, I don't know what I'm doing. I got us lost in the skyways, too.
Half a year. Half a year,
I'm not mad.
Candace?
It's fine. It's just, I've known you quite longer, Tony, and I enjoy the sweet life.
Half a year? I can't get over that. Half a year.
That's what it feels like.
Oh, well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's been flying by for you, this baton death march of mine for morning radio. A man who knows all about marching all over the desert these days is Mike Evans. He's got the Hollywood Report queued up. Michael, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Sounds like you guys had a lot of fun.
It was a great game. It was a lot of fun. We ate great food. We drank tons of great drinks. We were with really special people. Anyway, Candace didn't go.
I hate you both
wish I could
very
have gone.
much.
Excuse me.
I'm going to come up there and visit you guys some long weekend or something.
Bring it on, dude.
Yeah. This report brought to you by Marcus Theaters. Don't forget, it is Tuesday. That means proud to announce the Value Tuesday. It is such a success. People just love it. $6 to see any movie, 20% off any concessions. Check it out. Okay, getting right to it. I have two stories that aren't gossip. They're rare positive stories from Hollywood. First is Jessica Simpson, who celebrated 6 years of sobriety. Jessica admitted back during her drinking days she'd get up at 7 o'clock in the morning and would be drinking by 7:30. Said her whole life was a blur. I remember back years ago, it was like, anybody heard from Jessica Simpson? It's like she disappeared. She's healthy, 6 years sober. Good for her.
Drinks are on me.
She crawled into a bottle and thankfully crawled right back out eventually.
Exactly. And Michael J. Fox, 62 years old, has been fighting Parkinson's disease for decades, and over the last weekend made a couple of surprising comments. Michael said, quote, "The disease is a gift that just keeps on taking, but it has changed my life in a very, very positive way," end quote. Michael went on to say that his foundation to research and defeat the Parkinson's disease has now raised over $200 million.
It's fantastic.
And that his goal is to defeat the disease before his death. You know, Michael J. Fox is one of the most positive people, always smiling, never complains, and a regular make-a-wish come-true guy. I would say that's what a real star should be.
He's a pretty fantastic guy. I lost a brother to a disease that's in the Parkinson's family, multiple system atrophy. And,
so sorry.
And boy, that Fox is he's good for his word. He has been a tireless advocate for raising money and funding research for those diseases.
On a lighter note, what's your favorite food, Steve?
If the last appeal to the governor is a failure and they're gonna throw the switch, give me a nice full plate of Indian food. You pick it off the menu. I'll eat it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Candace?
Probably Italian pasta. I don't know.
Yeah. Z-Man? What about Z-Man?
Zep, what do you got? Zep's out. Tony, favorite food?
Yeah, pasta for me too.
Pasta.
Some celebrities. Taylor Swift says her favorite food is her mom's pot roast and chicken dumplings.
Okay, that nonsense, but go ahead.
Beyonce eats unprocessed foods and only whole grains 6 days a week, but she eats pizza every Sunday, Beyonce.
Okay.
Mariah Carey says she eats pizza 3 or 4 times a week. President Obama loves broccoli and chili, not necessarily together. Selena Gomez eats pickles every day.
Wow, pickles.
Pickles. Scarlett Johansson loves buffalo chicken wings. Britney Spears is a chocoholic. For me, being from Hawaii, I like a nice plate of Hawaiian Kahlua pig and mac salad. And I'm a chocoholic, too.
Like dark or milk chocolate? What do you prefer?
I like milk chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
You?
I go dark, man. Lately, I find myself not interested in chocolate unless it's just as dark as the night, Mike.
You know, I've been eating a lot lately, especially, after dinner, and a small bowl of cereal.
Nothing wrong with cereal, Mike.
Yeah, Raisin Bran cereal.
Give me a bowl of buckwheats any time of day, and I'm a happy man.
TV news, Dr. Phil has announced that he's getting his own television cable station. Does anybody watch Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil? I thought, seriously, he's getting his own a whole station? A
whole cable station, yeah.
Wow.
Movie news.
Your mother is sacrificing. I ran out of his act a long time ago.
Yeah. Movie news, 87-year-old Danny DeVito says that he's working on a sequel to his 1987 film Throw Mama from the Train.
Sick.
Is it? See, I saw it when it came out, and I did not care for it. And
I love that movie.
I've often wondered if I went back now if I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Might have to check it out.
And all week long, funny signs that I've either seen or listeners have sent me over the years. Today's sign was a sign outside a bathroom door in the Chattanooga gas station. And it read, out of order, except it was spelled O-D-E-R, out of odor.
Wow.
From a bathroom. I don't know if it was purpose. But I'll tell you one thing, if I wasn't going to use that bathroom, That's for sure.
Hey man, my son and I drove out to L.A. this past summer, and we stopped at a gas station in Arkansas, and there was a men's room and a woman's room, and then there was two other doors, and one said shower room, $8 per shower, and then the one next to it said shower room, $10 per shower. And if the place hadn't smelled like a corrosive toxic waste dump, I would have opened both doors to see what the $2 difference was. But as it was, I just took a photo and got the hell out of there.
That is scary.
Yeah, I didn't want to know.
Scary. Hoo-yah. Hey, have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. See ya.
Thank you, Mike. Bam. Boy, yeah, those Timberwolves. Back to that real quick. That was it.
Let's go back to that.
I got to get some games, man. I'm excited about that.
They put on a good show there, don't they? They keep the
they
pace
did?
going. They got the hip hop music.
Oh, did you guys
Crowd
appreciate
loving
that?
it. That people were just embracing
Wait till
and
you hear about
fondling each other.
The halftime show, Candace. A guy went out on stage and performed in something called the German Wheel.
Oh, really?
It's this giant wheel. He climbs into it and he spins it around and holds his core strength to fall down. It was incredible.
Wow.
Incredibly weird,
People
honestly.
were weeping.
But people were very much into it. And there was a whole group of German high school exchange students in the room. And I was like, did they bring this in for those kids? Because I was thinking, they're sitting there going, everyone thinks we love the German wheel. We don't care. We think it's as silly as you do. Anyway. It was a great night, and Tony and I are going to talk about it all day long, Candace.
We went clothes shopping afterwards.
We found this is amazing.
It's okay. I would have probably invited Steve Gorman too. So
I didn't know there's a 247 TJ Maxx downtown. Go figure. We loaded up, man. Zepp, we got you tons of stuff. Candace, we didn't see anything we thought really fit you, so sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of men's clothing shopping going on last night. Whew, baby. Let's look back. Today is special. It's November the 7th, a day that I have never forgotten since 1991, because it was on this day in 1991 that Earvin Magic Johnson announced to the world he was two things, HIV positive and no longer playing basketball.
And a man whore.
That, we already knew that. That announcement was beyond staggering to the world of basketball, and to me specifically, because Magic has always been my favorite player. The Black Crowes were working on our second album, putting the songs together up at our singer's house, literally working in his garage. And I was on my way driving up that day, and I had the radio on, and they said, Magic Johnson has a press conference today, and the word on the street, he's going to announce that he tested positive for cocaine use. And I remember thinking, oh, my God, that's terrible. And then like an hour later going, please just get high and say it was cocaine. Watching it with the band, and like I'm in a band full of guys that don't care about basketball, and everybody was just blown away because, of course, he was one of the biggest stars in the world. But in 1991, that was the same thing as saying, I'm going to be dead soon. We thought it was a death sentence. Of course, he's still here and was just in the last month officially given the designation of a billionaire. So Magic's done pretty well for himself. And my God, I love basketball because of that man. 11 seasons, 9 finals appearances. Let me know when that happens again.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zepp, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, November the 7th. Good morning. An hour from now, John Densmore will be phoning in, the drummer for The Doors. Whoo, baby. He's got a book. We'll be talking about all kinds of things with John Densmore. At 9 o'clock, we've got a couple of comedians coming in, a couple of funny guys who will be appearing in the area over the weekend. Jesse the Shrink and Nate Hood will both be in at 9 o'clock. And then in between that, I think in 30 minutes from now, we're going to be giving away some tickets to a concert, doing the things we normally do. But for right now, Zepp mentioned we were sharing a story this morning. Folks putting in some of the craziest things, a lot of attorneys weighing in with the strangest things they've ever seen in the last will and testament of some of their clients. And, it's like an old movie trope, you think, where the eccentric old great-great-uncle says, I want to leave my monkey collection to this boy who's a freshman in college I've never met. And then they move a few monkeys into a dorm room and then hijinks break out. But, Zepp, you already offered up an insane example. Someone in your family wanted their head turned into an ashtray?
Yeah, I had an uncle I'm not even going to say his name. It's ridiculous. But anyway, had a great uncle anyway. It's sort of been my grandfather's brother. He's just one of those 2 packs a day kind of guys. And he wanted his head turned into an ashtray with the mouth open. And then he was missing a couple of bottom teeth. And that's where he would put the cigarette, and he wanted people to use it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he was fun. But Fat Fester, by the way, was his name. That's why I didn't even want to say it. It sounds so ludicrous and made up. But his name was Uncle Fester.
No, just the skull or the full head?
I don't know that he, the way I pictured it in my head when he would talk about it repeatedly at family get-togethers was, stuff like his full head. A skull. What's fun about that?
No, exactly. I would think you'd want to preserve the head as much as possible.
You want to make eye contact when you're smoking a ciggy with Uncle Fest.
Yeah, and you don't.
I don't even know what his real name was. I'm going to text Dad this morning because it wasn't Uncle Fester, but he was bald. So we went with the obvious joke in the family.
I like, you mentioned, we would talk about it at length. Yeah, that's not something you go through one time at Thanksgiving and it never comes up again.
No.
It's more like Fester still wants his head to be an ashtray.
No, every time he would smoke, Grandma wouldn't let him smoke inside. Now no one lets anyone smoke inside, but back then he had to step out, and he was, just pissy about it, Like, I got to step outside and have a cigarette with a country I fought in a damn war. He'd always bring that up. And we'd always go, "You still want your head?" The kids, we loved to bring it up. It was fantastic, and Grandma hated it, of course.
One of the examples on this list, a woman created a trust fund of £100,000 in England. That's about 120 grand, I think, right now, for her pet fish. When her solicitor/attorney said, "Is it a special fish?" she said, "No, it's just a normal goldfish." But she wanted it to be fed fresh avocado every day and be looked after by a local dog walker that she knew after the woman died. She was totally serious.
She did know him.
A goldfish in a bowl, basically. Although but goldfish will grow pretty big if you keep expanding the size of the tank, right? Or is that just an old wives' tale?
No. They get quite big. Koi fish, they're goldfish. So you see the koi fish in the big ponds.
Right.
Sometimes they can get a couple of feet long. It's a carp, basically.
Yeah. So if I go to a rundown state fair and I shoot a free throw and win a goldfish in a plastic bag, that goldfish could grow to be pretty sizable. It's not going to be one of those full-size koi if I do it right, is it?
If you can get it home alive first.
No kidding.
No, I believe it is.
Wow.
That was always my impression, but I really kind of am. I don't have any hard facts to back that up. That was just, I think it came up one time. Somebody will let us know on the talk and text line, 651-989-ROCK. Yeah, as a regular goldfish, just like a koi fish, it just grows and grows and grows. That was, for some reason, I believe that.
I hope this woman who wanted to leave $100K for her goldfish, I hope there was a whole lot more for someone else or something else. That's just kind of like that's just a big middle finger to the people in your life if that's all you're leaving.
Well, there was an heiress in New York some years ago, let's say about 10 years ago, that left $13 million to her poodle, and that was the bulk of her estate, and because she wanted the poodle taken care of, and they couldn't even sell the house. The poodle had to remain in the house and be cared for in the house. And then after the poodle's death, we found out that some of the grandchildren would get some of the money. So, guess how long that poodle would last in my care.
So the koi and the goldfish are both descended from varieties of Asian carp that have grown into 2 distinct species. So they're 2 different kinds.
All right.
There you have it. So the goldfish will not grow.
There goes my plans for 2024.
No. I think the best one, I did see a fun one when I was in England. Shakespeare left the bulk of his estate to his daughter Susanna, I believe, and his wife, current wife at the time, he left his second best bed.
Second best.
Yeah.
Wow. So who gets the first bed? Who gets Daddy's favorite bed?
I got Susanna? I don't know.
I guess so.
It didn't really specify in the plaque that I was reading, but I thought that was a nice dig.
This is a good one. A woman's great-grandfather put a clause in his will. He left a lot of money, and he said, if any of my beneficiaries dispute the contents of the estate, their share becomes $1 and never anything else. That's a good way to keep people from going at it after each other.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's pretty much in there. But, okay, here's my favorite, though. And I think it makes me think of I've heard from several rock musicians over the years in conversation. They say, well, I'll write a book, but I won't have it released until I'm dead. Because they just don't want to deal with the blowback. Like, yeah, I'll tell the whole story, but it'll come out after I go away, which I always find to be kind of a fascinating mindset. This is a good one. A woman confessed to her attorney she had a secret daughter. She wanted to leave the daughter some money and photographs without the rest of her family finding out. Even her husband does not know. So you're just setting up a horrific. They're going to find out eventually. Those kind of secrets don't stay buried forever. Like, okay, here's your wife's estate, and the lawyer goes, "There's one part I can't tell you about, sir." I mean, I'm sorry, that guy's going to find out what it is. And first of all, how do you have a secret daughter? I mean, I guess maybe she gave birth and then gave it up for adoption before she met her husband. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I have 7 secret daughters, but that's easy. I'm the guy. You know what I mean? How does it's just one of those things.
Yeah. I had to take a DNA test once.
Is that true?
Yeah, I got a Facebook. When Facebook first started, almost right out of the gate, 2009, I'm on Facebook about a month in. You're the father of my child. And I went, oh, my God, I used to live in that city. But I dodged that bullet. Thank goodness for the DNA. How about this one from a... this is a Portuguese aristocrat whose name is, honestly, 8 names long. Luis Carlos, his first 2 names, left his entire fortune to 70 strangers randomly chosen out of a Lisbon phone directory.
Randomly chosen.
Most of the people never even heard of him.
Wow.
That's a call you'd want to get.
Yeah, that's not bad. I would I'd think about it in terms of if I had some giant estate, it would be fun, and you could conceivably spend years just figuring out ways to blow people's minds and just do the surprise. Like this could be time release joy spreading, like 7 years to the day after my death, give so-and-so this much money. And if they're no longer with us, then give it to this kindergarten or whatever. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
As it is right now, it's like, my wife and kids, just whatever's there, give it to them. They'll figure it out. I mean, maybe I should get a little more wacky with the last will and testament.
I'm just trying to get out of here without leaving them any debt, I'm just trying to leave flush, not like dear old dad left us with a big bill, that kind of thing.
That would be nice of you. Yeah.
I don't know. But they love to. I feel like I've still got a few years left, in the tank, but they love to divvy up my stuff. I get his motorcycle. No, I get his turntable. I'm like, calm down. None of you are getting any of it. I'm taking it. I want to be buried in a crypt with all my stuff. Like the old pharaohs.
Your hands gripping it.
Yes.
My son did say one time, and we were having this kind of conversation, I guess. I know exactly what it was. A buddy of his lost his dad, and they were discussing the estate. And he looked at me. He goes, "What's going to happen with all your drums and stuff?" And I was like, "Do you want it?" He goes, "No, I was just curious."
Okay.
He doesn't play, so he's like, "I mean, not really." And then he goes, "Well, actually, maybe. Yeah, I mean, I might." I'm like, "All right, well, let me know. Get back to me." We never picked that conversation back up. He was like 15.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Thanks. I have a guy. I know a buddy. Speaking of drums. A guy that used to work in the industry for years, and he found himself in possession of one of John Bonham's drum kits through just a whole long laundry list of weird things. And it had been in his storage thing, and some stuff went to him, and then at some point opened up a few boxes and realized, oh my God, I don't think I'm supposed to have this. And he just kind of, he held on to it for a little while, and then he got in touch with the family. But he was just would look at it I'm not going to have this forever. I'm just going to appreciate this. It was in his room. He didn't say this, but I know him enough. I have a feeling he would sit there in the quiet room, light a candle, and just stare at the drums. Oh, yeah, these are the ones.
Covet them.
And I've never gotten that excited about gear because I look at drums and I'm literally like, well, it's like the Chet Atkins thing when someone says, "Oh, man, that guitar sounds great," and he'll unplug it and drop it on the floor and go, "How's it sound now?" It's all about who's playing it at the end of the day. But that said, if somebody walked in here and said, "This was Bonham's kick drum," I might actually just put my head up against it for a while. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, cuddle with it. How many drum kits do you own, Steve?
Oh, 9 or 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot.
Full kits.
Yeah, I know a lot of drummers with a whole lot more than that. It's more than I need for sure.
Yeah.
And that's been whittled down. Those are the ones I've for whatever reason I can't let these ones go. Each one has a very specific reason why I still have it.
Yeah. It's not like a guitar, though. It's not easily. What do you have, a warehouse somewhere? Just leave them scattered around?
They're not well, they're kind of scattered, yeah. No, there's just one big room full of crap is what I call it.
Yeah,
and,
buried in the yard.
I just go dig through it and pull stuff out. The drums are cool. The cymbals are cool. It's like the 900 cymbal stands that for some reason I'm like, I don't need all these. And they're heavy, and there's just a whole road case full of crap I'm never going to use again. But, better. You never know. You never know what I'm going to need that bottom half of that stand to go with his boom arm because, it's ridiculous.
What about this I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it used to be a lot more. I did get rid of a lot of stuff over the years.
Yeah, you just trim it down, I suppose.
How about bongos? Do you have any bongos?
I have a set of congas. I don't have bongos. Right. Yeah.
What's the difference between a bongo and a conga?
Oh, well, the bongo is what you sit down and stick between your knees, and the congas are the much larger. You stand up generally and stand behind them. They're much larger.
All right, I have a visual.
Yeah.
One more thing here in a will I found.
Sure.
Jack Benny, old comedian way back in the day. You youngsters may not know the name. Jack Benny, after he died, had a rose delivered every day to his home, to his widow.
Oh.
Every day.
Wow.
I know. It sounds romantic, but also kind of stalkerish, checking up on her.
Stalkerish and also making up for some stuff, too. I said I was sorry in perpetuity.
You're just making her sad every day.
I would just start throwing them in the trash right when they arrive.
At some point, you're like, okay, I literally get it. How much did you spend for the next 30 years on flowers? Just cash me out.
Yeah, he was needy, right?
Oh, yeah, of course he was.
All right.
Now. The way he would put his hand on his face, that's the sign of a needy man.
Yeah.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, November the 7th. Whew, man. What does that mean? We're a year out from a presidential election. That'll be fun.
There you go. Yeah,
that'll be a fun year.
Good time.
Every year I think back to every 4 years I think to the fact that I believe in the United Kingdom the campaign is 8 weeks long.
Yeah, that's about right.
They're just like, you know what? Let's just get in and get out.
Yeah, mine's about 2 weeks long. About 2 weeks before any election, I'll sit down and do some Googling.
Yeah, can't wait for the political advertising. Such a joy.
Oh, that's big bucks for radio.
Yeah, let's.
Well, I'm getting paid next year, man.
All right, fair enough. There's always a pragmatic reason to be excited about democracy.
Yeah, the capitalistic angle, I guess.
Yeah. This Friday night, my band, as we mentioned, Bagmen, will be playing at the 7th Street Entry, and we're gonna get a little nutty here. We're gonna give away tickets because you know what, we like rock and roll music, and we assume our listeners do as well. We got Bagmen tickets. We've got also as a runner-up prize tickets to see the Little River Band Saturday, November the 11th. So we got a big weekend planned here in the Twin Cities, and we have a couple of callers.
We're going to need one more.
And we're going to need one more because we just lost one of our callers. So if you want to get involved in this game we're about to play and take a chance at winning some tickets, call 651-989-ROCK right now and see if you can't get locked in, I should say, for the game. This game today, have we done this before? Am I forgetting something, or is this brand new?
Nope, she's brand new. It's kind of nutty, kind of contemporary.
I like it. And anytime I get to take a moment and just think back to the glory days of my kids and their Oshkosh Bagosh overalls, oh man, nothing better. Mm-hmm. Nothing better than that Oshkosh Bagosh catalog coming to the house and looking through baby clothes. It was so great. Oh, the toddler years. Where would we be without them? All right, let's do it. Tony, explain this game, please, sir.
All right, this is how it works.
Josh! Oh, Josh.
The KQ Morning Show presents...
Josh.
Bagosh?
So he was the man on Sunday and got us all fired up. Our new hero is Josh Dobbs. People are dubbing him Rocket Man, the Pastronaut.
I like it.
Yeah, we're all about Josh. Well, let's get to know other Joshes by multiple choice. Pick the right Josh. let's play Josh Bagosh, shall we?
Josh Bagosh. I like it. All right, Candace, do we have a second caller already?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, then let's go to our first contestant who didn't hang up on you.
Kristen from Spring Lake, Wisconsin.
Kristen from Wisconsin, good morning.
Hi, Spring Valley, Wisconsin.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Spring Valley, Wisconsin. Sounds like a lovely place. How's Spring Valley this morning so far?
Oh, just wonderful.
Well, that's great. Well, are you ready to play Josh Bagosh?
Yep.
I'm happy to hear that. Tony, take it away.
All right, my dear, number one, actor and producer known for roles in Black Hawk Down, Pearl Harbor, The Virgin Suicides, and recently in Oppenheimer. He's from the great city of St. Paul, Minnesota. Is he A, Josh Internet, B, Josh Hartnett, C, Josh Chestnut?
Hartnett.
Correct.
Wow.
That handsome heartthrob he is.
St. Paul kid. Who knew?
Yeah.
Great things come out of St. Paul.
I guess
Not a bad center fielder.
I guess Kristen knew.
Kristen, number two, he's known as a singer and actor who voiced Olaf the Snowman in Frozen, was in Beauty and the Beast. In the Book of Mormon, he is A, Josh Gad, B, Joshua Superbad, C, Josh Mongoose.
Dad.
Correct.
Wow.
Number three, on TV's The West Wing, Bradley Whitford played the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. What was his character's name? Was it A, Josh Higsby, B, Josh Simon, or C, Josh Lyman?
Simon.
I am sorry, is Mr. Josh Lyman.
So wait, he was the
Lyman.
assistant, he was the deputy chief of staff? Mm-hmm. Who was the chief of staff?
Leo McGarry
Oh,
was the chief
What
of
was the
staff.
show?
The
West-
West Wing.
the West Wing. Bet one of these days I'll see 1 minute of that show.
Yeah, I haven't.
You've never seen that show? Oh,
I
God,
was-
I love that show.
I mean,
I was busy.
One of my
Back to
favorites.
politics, yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Aaron Sorkin. Highly recommend it.
All right.
Get to watching.
If you like to watch politics,
One man's dream of what politics could be.
I'm personally insulted.
yeah.
Back to the game. What do you think?
Well, what do we think of the game? It's fantastic.
All right.
Kristen's 2 for 3. She's sitting there like tapping her fingers. Would you guys shut up and get to clue number 4, please?
Kristen, you got one more. Number 4, your last one, among the best in baseball history. He was a catcher who became the second Negro League player inducted into the Hall of Fame. Many deemed him a better power hitter than Babe Ruth. A, Josh Giblitz, B, Josh Mankiewicz, or C, Josh Gibson.
Gibson.
Correct.
Yes. Put an olive in that
All
martini,
right,
baby.
nice job, you.
All right, Kristen, 3 for 4. That's the way they dialed it up on the blackboard. Well played. Hang tight for a sec. We'll see what the competition has to offer. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Kathy from Forest Lake.
Kathy from Forest Lake. Good morning, Kathy.
Oh, good morning. Good morning.
Is that Kathy with a C or Kathy with a K?
It's Kathy with a K.
All right. I was going to say that you sounded like a Kathleen to me. So
It's Kathy, plain old Kathy.
just plain old Kathy with a K. I like it. All right. Are you ready to play Josh Bagosh?
I think so.
Well, I certainly hope that's the case. All right, Tony,
I'll give
take it
her
away.
a whirl.
Give it a whirl, baby.
All right, Kat, number 1, give this a whirl. Musically, musician and songwriter, the founder, guitarist, and frontman for the rock band Queens of the Stone Age. A, Josh Homonym, B, Josh Homme, or C, Josh Honeynut.
Oh, my goodness. Say that. I'm sorry. Will you say the last names again?
A, Josh Homonym, B, Josh Homme, C, Josh Honeynut.
I'm going to go B. I'm guessing.
Good guess.
Atta girl.
Nice job.
Bam.
Number 2, actor, the son of Barbara Streisand's husband, James, known for roles in No Country for Old Men, The Goonies, and as Avengers enemy Thanos. A, Josh Botswana, B, Josh Brolin, C, Josh Baskin.
Again, I'm guessing A.
I'm sorry, now it's Josh Botswana. It is B, Josh Brolin,
I like that.
son of James Brolin.
I like the Josh Baskin throw out there. From
Yes,
Big.
Tom Hanks' character
Yeah.
as the young boy.
Shaking it off.
Shake it off.
Oh, you're on your way to glory here, Kathy. Don't worry about it.
Two more. Number 3, actor on All My Children, Las Vegas, Transformers, from Minot, North Dakota, was married to Black Eyed Peas singer Fergie. Is it A, Josh Dupree, B, Josh Duhamel, C, Josh Ritter?
A.
I'm sorry, it's B, Josh
I'm
Duhamel.
guessing here. Seriously, I don't know. I watch Young and the Restless.
Well, look him up, Kathy. You'll like it.
I too. I used to watch Young and Restless. I spent a lot of time with my friends in Genoa City, Wisconsin over the years.
I love it. Nikki and Victor are still on there.
See? Victor Newman's eternal.
And you guys won't watch The West Wing. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, because I'm watching the Y and the R. Back off, Tony.
My stories.
That's exactly what they are.
All right,
There are stories.
your last one. Number 4, actor and singer known for his Broadway-style, theatrically powerful voice. A, Josh Freeman, B, Josh Groper, or C, Josh Groban?
I'm guessing again. B. I don't know. These are hard.
I'm sorry, it is Josh Groban.
Man,
C.
these are hard.
You raise me up.
Game show I've ever played. I usually do really good, but this is a difficult one.
It's a tough one, Kathy. But
Kooky.
yeah. So you went 1 for 4, but you brought a little sunshine to the show. That's
Yes.
always a good thing. And you are not leaving empty-handed. You've got Little River Band tickets for Saturday, November 11th at the Medina Entertainment Center. Kristen, you're the winner. 3 out of 4. You got tickets to see Bagman this Friday night at the 7th Street Entry. Thank you both for playing, and congrats.
I want to see Big Man.
Yeah, what? Well,
Big man or big?
Bagman, yeah. I want to see him too, but I got to be in it, so I can't see it. Yeah, we don't always
Just
get
put a
one.
mirror up there for you.
That's true. That'd be kind of an odd. That'd be
Put
like
a
a
mirror
change.
on the ceiling of the 7th Street entry.
Morris Day has rocked a mirror in that building before.
Absolutely.
I could do the same.
Right, Jerome Hodzelt for him.
Yeah, of course he does. Let's see here. I like Josh for gosh, but there's only so many Joshes. I was actually amazed you found 8.
I found that out there. Yeah, kind of limited.
Yeah.
All quality Joshes.
Apparently so.
Yeah, you don't run into a lot of D-bag Joshes, do you? It's one of those names that just sort of transcends the whole D-baggery. I'm trying to think of a D.
I think as a kid, if your name is Josh, you just can't get a. It just doesn't wear well to be a douchebag. It's like,
Right.
good old Josh. Yeah, Josh is your buddy. You can trust
Yeah,
him.
no one's picking on Josh.
Josh is everyone's crush.
Is that true?
That's a crush name for sure. I feel like I had a crush on a couple Joshes.
Yeah, me too.
Fair enough. I'm trying to think if there's a good crush name that I remember going back to. I mean, I didn't have a crush on a guy's name, but my favorite name. I met a kid named Jimmy Dan, and I went to his house, and his older brother. It was the first time I ever heard this name was Chad, and I was like,
Yeah.
Chad.
Chad's a good name too.
Chad's a cool name. And then later in life, I saw that there was a country named Chad, and I was like, it's totally a cool name. If my name was Chad, I'd wear like Chad swag from the country.
You'd move
I'd
to
move
Chad.
there.
Wear
Yeah,
stuff
right.
with the flag and all that. Yeah, none of that ever happened. But I did think when I read, this is all very early in life, and then I did see that you could change your name legally, and I spent some time thinking about Chad Gorman.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Chad Gorman.
I thought I want to be a Chad. I don't like Steve.
You don't look like a Chad.
Get a job as a telemarketer. You get to change your name.
That's a good point. I don't.
That was Matt.
In fact, I don't know any Chads now. It's the only one. I might be the only Chad I ever knew in real life. There was Chad Everett and this guy in Maryland. Go figure.
Chad Everett, my swinging Aunt Bonnie out in Hollywood, used to live next door to him.
Swinging Aunt Bonnie?
Yeah, she was. She was a cool
Is that just what you
divorcee.
called her, or is that what everyone
That's
called
what
her?
I called her.
You had an aunt who was a divorcee in Hollywood?
Yep.
God, that's the stuff of childhood legend right there.
She was cool.
Yeah, of course she was cool. Did she have a convertible?
I believe so. I
Beehive?
believe it was a Benzo.
Beehive? Beehive hairdo?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Did she wear a pearl necklace a lot?
That I can't
That just
comment
sounds
on.
like the coolest woman I've ever heard of in my life. I had my good buddy Nat. He had an aunt himself, a cool, hot, divorced aunt in New York City who hung with all the art scene, and she would tell stories about, well, when de Kooning first came to town, and she was like a real, she knew Warhol, and she would just talk about her just drinking with artists over the decades, and she was a hoot, man.
Hey, I misspoke. Swinging at Bonnie dated Chad Everett. She lived next door to Buddy Hackett.
All right, I'll bite. Who's Chad Everett? What was he in?
Medical Center.
It's just not what you were expecting. You were thinking like Gunsmoke or
Is that Medical Center? Was that a
Paladin.
real TV show?
Yeah, it was
Who was the star of it?
70s.
Yeah.
Chad
Kinda-
Everett.
Yeah, Chad Everett.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to Google that. We'll get along to. We have a legit living legend. A lot of L's in there.
We do.
Suddenly. Coming up here at 8 o'clock, John Densmore of The Doors. His
hell
book
yeah.
sounds fascinating and out of the ordinary. The title of the book, The Doors Unhinged, Jim Morrison's Legacy Goes on Trial. John Densmore, 8 o'clock. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, November the 7th, and I'm very happy to mention that John Densmore, drummer for The Doors, has a new book out called The Doors Unhinged, Jim Morrison's Legacy Goes on Trial. That book is available as of today. I guess wherever you buy books would be the place to go try to track it down. John Densmore, I'm also happy to say, is on the phone with us right now. Good morning, John.
Steve, I hear that, like me, you are a skin beater.
I've been called much worse, John. Yes, sir, I am.
All right. Other than me, who are your favorite drummers?
You're on the short list. I got a big three. The first two, Ringo was number one as a kid. Still works for me. John Bonham still works for me, and then actually number three is a rotation. And truly, you are on that short list. I'm a big fan of Levon Helm. I like Charlie Watts. I like rock and roll drummers who understand swing. So obviously, you are right there in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, I like all those choices. In this book, The Unhinged, Doors Unhinged, it's about my legal struggle and trial. Mm-hmm. But I do, on the weekend, reflect about seeing Elvin Jones, Coltrane's drummer, and have some of that.
That's okay. That kind of stopped me in my tracks. I didn't get to see Elvin Jones in person. That's kind of the top of the mountain right there.
Yeah, and I got to carry his cymbal case to his car towards the end of his life. A true mentor.
That's fantastic. As long as we're talking, I did provide a drum kit for Max Roach to play a show in Atlanta back in the 90s, and him playing my drums was about as good as it ever got for me.
I've been doing readings where I kind of play hand drums, and I did one with Fred Armisen, who's also a drummer, and does an incredible Prince thing.
Really?
On Saturday Night Live, he used to do Prince. Just outrageous. Yeah.
Anyway. He's great. We got John Densmore on the horn on the KQ Morning Show. Before we dig into your book, which I will read, I'm sorry to say I have not yet read. As a drummer, and I say this sincerely, I've ripped you off for as long as I can remember, especially when my band started to play more extemporaneously. I drew back and thought about drummers that were far more improvisational, and I took a lot of pages from your book. I was born in 65. I don't remember a time without rock and roll. I don't remember a time without the music of the Doors. When I think about you guys in, like, say, the summer and fall of 66, as you're getting all this attention, you've got the record deal, but you're not really well known outside of Southern California. I think about what was on the charts in 66, and I see such a disconnect to the music you were making. Were you confident that you guys would find an audience out there that would actually get it? Not necessarily a mass commercial audience, but just people that would hear what you were doing and buy in, or were you even thinking along those terms?
Steve, I was hoping to pay the rent for 10 years.
Right, of course.
My hair is gray, and I'm still talking about this friggin' band.
Yeah.
This is a good thing.
Yeah, it's a great thing. Well, there's so much to be said. I say for bands, it's 99% chemistry, and you have it or you don't. You can fake it if you don't have it, but if you do have it, you can't get out of it. It's always there. There's a reason you're still talking about this band, and that's because for a very brief period of time in hindsight, you guys did have something you couldn't have possibly drawn up on a chalkboard and planned.
Well, I always say we're so big because of the drumming, but Jim, was something in this book that's very interesting. In rehearsal, I write about how he said to us, I don't know how to play a chord on any instrument. I got words and I got melodies to remember the words, but so let's say all music by the Doors, not lyrics by me. Mm-hmm. So let's split all the money and be totally equal, and we should have veto power. Well, I became Mr. Veto.
Right.
But that was a pivotal moment. Maybe that's why we were so good. Everybody gave 200% with that sort of arrangement, and there's no bands who have done that.
The only two that come to mind are REM and U2, and those are two bands that obviously had very lengthy careers, and they made decisions as a group. And you're exactly right. When if that's where a band starts, then everybody, you might not go as fast, but you're all going to go together. That's a pretty special thing. And you mentioned Jim Morrison, of course. The legend of Jim Morrison, that's what the rest of us think about. You think about the reality and the friendship with Jim Morrison. How far apart is the man from the legend in your mind?
Well, he was just a regular guy. But I would say that over the years, his alcoholism increased. Mm-hmm. And back then, we didn't really understand he had a disease.
Right.
And substance abuse clinics were not popular yet. We got Eminem and Clapton doing it, and so that's cool now, and right. That's a good step. So, Jim was one of those souls who's very creative and self-destructive.
Yeah, for sure. In this book, The Doors Unhinged, which again is out today, you do mention your figurative and literal trials in trying to preserve the legacy and the intent. You want to honor what Jim Morrison's view was and what the Doors were at the time. But you also speak about the fact that you're speaking to a society where that kind of thinking, I think, more often than not falls on deaf ears.
Agreed. But, Steve, Jim, he went ballistic when we were considering Come On Buick, Light My Fire. Said, let's do it, and I'll smash the car on television with a sledgehammer. Yeah. That's a no.
Right.
And so he didn't write Light My Fire. I mean, he wrote one line, Our Love Become a Funeral Pyre, very Morrison-esque.
Yeah, for sure.
So Robbie primarily wrote that song, Robbie Krieger. So, Steve, what does that say about, maybe he cared about all the songs, the whole catalog. Mm-hmm. And, he's passed and he's my ancestor. And so I'm trying to honor that. And that's why I got into this struggle. And I want to say also a new band trying to pay the rent, do a commercial if you need to. Mm-hmm. Our case is different.
It certainly is. And I spent almost 30 years in a band where we went back and forth on these kind of issues all the time. Real strong stand taken initially and then softened over the years. I could see the thing with, I didn't like the changing of the mindset so much. I could see, to your point, I can see both sides of it depending on your situation, your context. But you seem to, I like the simple approach, which was these are the values we had going in. This is what we agreed on. Why would we change? I imagine you sleep well at night with that.
And, we did get the brass ring. We were doing so well. There was a consideration to break on through to a new deodorant or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. No, it was a Cadillac. And I said to Ray and Robbie, well, we all have a nice house and a couple of groovy cars. What are you going to buy?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a pregnant pause, which was loud as hell. Kind of like, well, do we want to? As Tom Waits wrote in a letter commending me on an article I wrote about this subject, he said, you can change your lyrics to a jingle, and it's the sound of coins in your pocket, then maybe you sold your audience. And that's where Jim was at, you know.
Right.
So I'm staying with that.
I'm appreciative of that greatly and deeply. John Densmore is with us on the KQ Morning Show. This is something I've not seen you talk about. I'm sure you have many times, but forgive me as a fan. Other Voices in Full Circle. Those records got a lot of play in my house. I have an older brother who is, the Doors are number one for life for him on his list, and I was just curious about the two albums recorded after Jim's death. What the vibe was like in the band? Was there a plan even then? Were you thinking of doing something where you would be on the road and tour a lot? Or was that, I almost imagine that was a way to process grief in the only way you knew how.
Yeah, good question. We didn't want to sacrifice the musical synchronicity that the three of us had gotten.
Which is formidable, always.
Really wonderful. And so, and we did tour a little bit, but after those two albums, we turned down big dough for 3 more albums. We got, an offer of a certain amount of money per album. Because we realized, wait a minute, our front man is gone. What the hell are we doing here, you know?
Right. Well, it's. I can only imagine how difficult that was because, as you said, and as I'll echo for my life, I mean, I've said this not in a dismissive way of Jim Morrison, of course, but I always said my favorite part of the Doors is the 3 guys everyone's trying not to talk about because just as a musician, the tracks and that chemistry in your playing and that vibe, it is so. Like I said, you can't draw that up on a board. You guys just had something that. I would also imagine, and I'm asking you this question, was that apparent from the jump? Like, first time the 4 of you in a room, were you looking at Robbie and Ray and thinking, man, I think we're onto something here?
I don't think right off the bat, but when I reflect back, I think about how Robbie brought flamenco and folk, and Ray had blues and classical. And I had jazz, and Jim read every book on the planet. So we were kind of like an American gumbo.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty tasty soup.
That certainly is. John, the book is out today. Anywhere someone wants to go find a book, The Doors Unhinged. I know you're a busy man. You got to bounce. It is a true pleasure and a long overdue one for me to thank you for how much you've influenced me, and thank you for the great music and all the best with the book.
Hey, Steve, keep practicing those paradiddles.
I'm going to start one of these days, I promise.
Da, 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 da.
That's it. Right, left,
All
right. Thank you, John. Cheers, brother.
Good one.
Paradiddle.
Well, he sounds great these days.
Right,
doesn't he?
left, right,
So
left,
good.
right, left, right, left, left. The only rudiment I know. That's it.
What a groovy character.
Boy.
He's crystal clean.
Yeah. No, I'm by the
What
way,
all of that means.
not blowing
His
and
voice.
not
Oh,
blowing.
I
it
thought
out.
you meant drugs.
I'm not blowing any smoke either to him, but obviously to you guys. I grew up with those records in the house. My brother Dave is a Doors lifer. But when I started playing, I didn't start playing drums really till I was 21. And then but I have all this music stamped on my DNA. And once I started playing, and then once playing live and then trying to get a little more exploratory, I found myself, okay, the Beatles were no use to me anymore, and the band records didn't make sense and all that. I was like, I got to go get into Densmore. That was a big one of my guiding lights in turning into a drummer that was being able to improvise. I watched the movie, kinda. I just don't like movies about bands. I just never think they hit the mark.
It's not very accurate.
Yeah, it never. You can't get that feel. You can get the look. It's just like you can get the look and you can get the sound even, but you can't get the feel. You can't get the smell and the feel of a real band in a room playing. And I was watching I just remember the rehearsal scene, and they were all giving each other notes and putting together their first songs, and I was like, I just can't. It's just too close, and it's not right. It's like eating a sandwich, but it's actually like made of plastic. It's like, yeah, this looks like a great BLT, but that's not real food. That's what those movies are like to me.
Interesting.
That's nice to hear. Like I know that when I talked to Robbie about that movie, he said, it isn't very accurate. It's very Oliver Stone, but Val did such a great job portraying Jim Morrison in that sense, and they're not mad at it.
Sure.
So
no, I'm
cool.
sure they're not. Anyway, all this to say, man, I'm happy to talk to that guy. Big fan. Great drummer. And I know because he's in a band with Jim Morrison, and Morrison's gone. So overlooked. I mean, people just don't think about the other members of the band in the way they do Jim. But man, Densmore was just he's as solid a drummer as there's been. Love him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the drumming that he brought. Once you put it through the Doors system with Ray Manzarek, the greatest rock and roll keyboardist in my, there's John Legend, there's Ray Manzarek just above him, and Robbie Krieger, great songwriter, amazing guitarist, and the music, but the rock and roll, I guess, the sexy rock and roll icon of the time was Jim Morrison, so it's hard to get around that in the conversation. But for people who love the Doors music, the other three guys really made it happen.
Yeah, no question about it.
That's what I listened to on my 1977 Pioneer SX650 wired into a couple of 3-foot Advent speakers.
Now you're talking.
Oh, yeah, I got all the digital state-of-the-art processing at home.
Yeah.
I've got the OLED TV. I've got the latest and greatest gaming and streaming system. But if you're listening to music in my house, it's being pumped through a 77 Pioneer SX650.
Now you're talking Strohs.
Yeah, I'm getting a little sexually excited. We're talking outdated tech. What outdated tech are you still using and perfectly happy with? Share it with us on the Talk and Text line, 651-989-ROCK, and hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Tuesday, November the 7th. Zepp, is there something you want to say?
Happy November 7th.
Oh, I believe there was you wanted to clear up a John Legend reference.
Oh, yeah. And here I am, off running away with the next story, and I forgot all about it. Thank you, Steve, because it was bugging me. No one's going to know what I'm talking about, but I was talking about great rock and roll keyboardists, and one of my very favorite would be John Lord, obviously of Deep Purple.
Yes, sir.
Right there near the top of that pyramid.
Sure.
And I referenced John Legend, who might, tickle the ivories just fine. I don't know. Hell of a performer. But not the man I was thinking about.
God, Legend to Lord. It's an easy slip of the tongue.
Right? Okay,
you were a Legend fan.
Giving me that I was carrying on during the commercial break, and then got to rocking along there. We're talking about nicknaming our cars yesterday. That David Lee Roth said he wrote Panama about a car he owned.
Yeah, that's right. Panama, a man, a plan, a canal, Panama.
Yes, good palindrome.
That's a palindrome.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. I mean, that's about the longest one I can think of. I also know there are several other good palindromes out there. My favorite, sit on a potato pan, Otis. That's a good palindrome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really going to serve any purpose other than to say, hey, here's another one I read one day, but that's about it.
I run into an Otis today so bad.
Oh,
what are the odds?
Get on a potato. What was it? A cat I saw? That's also a palindrome.
Yeah.
Madam, I'm Adam.
Madam, I'm Adam. That's right. How about this? Red rum, sir, is murder.
Yes.
Oh, funny.
Oh, yeah. No
Red
lemon,
rum.
no lemon, no melon. That's a tongue teaser and a palindrome.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Use some of these to warm up the old pipes in the morning. Get the tongue working.
No kidding. You mentioned all of this started. The reason we even were talking about keyboardists in the first place was on the last segment. If you're just joining us, we interviewed John Densmore, drummer for the Doors. He's got a new book out called The Doors Unhinged today, and we were referencing Ray Manzarek, of course, the keyboardist in the Doors. The Doors, that's old school. That's Hammond organ, electric piano, and a guy's going to play bass with his left hand, so we don't even need a bass player. They just kicked it old school for sure. And Zepp, you mentioned your speaker system that you still like to rock out to. Hardly the latest a gadget available at Best Buy.
Yeah, thank God, Al, if you're listening out there in South Minneapolis, this is a guy that keeps old stereos running, and he completely Uncle Frank had out in his shop. I'd go out there and watch him work on motorcycles. And he had this old Pioneer stereo out there for years. I don't think he ever shut it off. And you know what I'm talking about, right? Those old stereo receivers, they would just leave on forever with the big silver dials. And one day I went out there and it was just, there it was, just covered in grease and dust. And I took it into Al in South Minneapolis and he brought it out looking spanking new. That guy is a magician. And Al, I'm trying to remember your last name and your phone number to pass along a plug. I'll see what I can do online. But anyway,
Al Legend.
Al Legend. That's right. Al Legend. He is my lord. But anyway, so I got that rocking, and then he ended up getting together for me an old 1981 Pioneer turntable, and I powered that through some old Advents I had from 1991, and she'll rock the house. And, what's the word I'm looking for? Starts with an A. Analog style. Thank you.
I like
it's not working this morning.
I listen to music through my phone on my Bluetooth speakers in the car, or I'll plug it in, and I will stream music with the best of them because I just want to hear a song. I want to hear a song, and I'm okay, and I've got enough hearing loss where I can justify it. But at the end of the day, if you give me a choice, I'm still totally in love with vinyl. I love to put a needle down on an album. I don't mind getting up after 4 or 5 or 6 songs and turning the album over. That's just how I grew up listening to music like so many of us did. It was all about records, not CDs, not even cassette tapes, really. It was all about that vinyl experience. And I still, even with all of the retro-looking but brand-new record players you can find, you can get them at, you can go to Electric Fetus or No Name Records or Target. They're everywhere. Those still sound great to me. There's something about a piece of wax and a needle and a stylus, if you will, operating a system that I've had it explained to me how that works my whole life. It never makes any sense.
No, of course not.
How did anybody on earth ever figure out I can get music to play on this piece of wax through a needle? I will never understand any of that, but I don't care because that really does sound good to me. I will still, if you say, hey, write this down, I still will literally prefer to write it down. If someone says, here's the dates, maybe I can come see you. They're like, we're talking with the kids. Hey, guys, when's the semester end? When do you got to get home? If I'm sitting there with my laptop open and there's a pen and a piece of paper next to it, I will grab the pen and write it down on a piece of paper and then write it as a note into my laptop.
Me too.
Even though I would say it saves time to just, I can type just fine. And if it's in the laptop, it's going to stay there forever. But if I won't go find a pen, but if I see it, I will use it every time.
Mm-hmm. If I need a pen, it wrecks my day. Because I never did write anything down. My life was just, a complete chaotic mess. And with digital, my smartphone, I've been able to organize it just a bit. But, something came up the other day, and I had to sign something. I was like, oh, my God, a pen. I was tearing the place apart. Mm-hmm. Finally found that old junk drawer, and there it was in the back, still working.
Any of us still wear a watch?
But I've got the smart watch, not the good old...
No, I just mean a regular, just a watch that tells you the time, and that's it.
I do. I love wearing it, but it's as jewelry, as an affectation, not to read the time.
For years, up until about 6 or 7 years ago when I went digital, the old Timex, the cheapie that you'd buy for $20, now it's like $30. Yeah, that got the job done for many a decade.
I was off and on with watches over the years. If I see a photo of myself wearing a wristwatch, it's all I see in the picture. It's so jarring. Like, I forgot I used to wear a watch because it's been a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, the minute I got a cell phone that had the time, I don't think I've ever put a watch on since.
Sometimes if someone references a time, I'll quickly glance at my wrist just out of habit.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, but they can look really nice. I mean, they have such cool looking watches as an accessory. If we were the kind of people that dressed up occasionally. I know we got some callers checking in with some old tech this morning.
Wayner from Hutchinson.
Good morning.
Hey, how you doing?
All is well. What do you got for us, brother?
When I was 20 years old, I bought an Empire 598 turntable.
Okay.
I still got it.
Attaboy. How many years are we talking?
It would be 50 years old.
Oh, wow. That is extraordinary. Do you remember the first album you ever played on that turntable?
Yes, I do.
Attaboy. What was it?
Genesis, Selling England by the Pound.
Hell yeah, it was.
There you go. That boy.
Damn, that's awesome. What's the last album you played on it?
Fleet Foxes, Shore.
Man, that
Cool.
You win the day, brother. That is great.
Also running Marantz 3300 preamp, a 120 power amp, and a 115B tuner.
God,
Marantz.
I'm honestly aroused right now. Marantz, that was it. Pioneer Marantz, there for a while. I think owned it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is outstanding.
And then running through vintage JBL speakers.
There you go.
Of course you are.
Can't miss with JBLs. No way. Yeah.
How many albums are in the collection, sir?
Of mine?
Yeah.
Probably 4,000. That's a small collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's outstanding. This is my favorite call of the week, of the month.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And by the way, I bet the old Q sounds pretty good on that receiver. Mine's just set at 92.5. Forget about it, the big dial, right? But I love listening to KQ92's processing with Mike Oberg, right? Processing through that analog system. It just pumps.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
My bride and I, we have beer 30 at 3:30, and we listen to at least one album every day.
Not a boy.
That's called the secret to your success, I imagine, sir. Congratulations on all of that. Thank you for the call.
I remember when it was cool to have triaxle speakers in your car.
Yeah, right?
Not just coaxials.
Mine were JBLs, and I couldn't afford to get them professionally installed, so I just kind of set them on the back. They weren't the type that you could set. They were like the open speaker with the magnet there in the back that you're supposed to, bolt down into and make it all look nice and flush, but I couldn't afford to do that, so I just had them laying there in the back, and they'd fall in the back seat every once in a while, but by God, I had triaxles.
Man, hell, you absolutely did. Candace, do we have another caller?
Carrie from Baldwin, Wisconsin.
Carrie, good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on over there, sister?
Well, I have been waking up. I'm 53 years old, and I have been waking up to the same alarm clock since I was a freshman in high school.
Wow. Is it Minnie Mouse, and are her hands wearing the gloved hands?
It's a cheap digital alarm clock.
That is, since you were a freshman in high school, did you after high school, what'd you do? Did you go to college, or did you just get a job?
Oh, I worked, and eventually I did some college and stuff, started my own business.
But I was thinking more about, how many places you lived. So you didn't go to a dorm room. Did you get your first apartment?
I've only lived in 2 places my entire life.
Wow. So
this means that you've never been so hungover that you whipped your alarm clock across the room. It survived all these years.
I've never whipped it across the room, but there might have been times that I was a little hungover at one point.
Those old alarm clocks, they'd get you out of bed, though, wouldn't they?
Oh, yeah, they're annoying.
Man, that is incredible. From ninth grade, I still have some albums, that I've had that predate ninth grade. I've got a painted rock that my sister-in-law gave me when I turned 7. I'm never without it my whole life.
Good.
Every apartment. It's gone with me everywhere I've ever lived. And that's about it off the top of my head. Man, an alarm clock, that's a hell of a thing to carry along all those years.
Yeah.
I know. Well, it's like, it's one of those things I spend money on it. You don't have to, I guess,
Wow. That's great. Hey, we got to bounce. Thank you for the call and for sharing that. Man.
From the talk and text line, someone referenced the GE AM/FM alarm clock radio.
Really?
Tuned to KQ, of course.
I can remember my mom, we got a new, this is at a time when the 3 youngest Gorman boys all shared a room. Mm-hmm. And one year there was just a new alarm clock plugged in. And it had a feature. And I remember looking at the box and being blown away. And it was like, works for deaf people too. And it had a blinding light that would just flash.
Oh,
wow.
And so we were like, let's just use that. That'll wake you. But it'll be better than that noise in the morning. And, of course, we just slept right through it. We're just like, light just flashing in your eyes. It's like nothing. No.
Covers over your head.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a really cool one, but you guys won't understand it.
Well, try us.
It was
Hello,
really
Kitty.
cool. Close. It was a Nickelodeon alarm clock, and it was like a boom box, and it had the little slime over it. It was just very, very nostalgic.
Really?
I still had it.
And where is it now?
I don't know. My mom and dad got rid of all my stuff. So.
Oh, man.
They're pretty good at that, aren't they? Getting rid of all of our stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just got Jake from Richfield sent a palindrome. Go hang a salami. I'm a lasagna hog.
All right. $5 to anyone who can work that into a conversation today. One more time, Tony.
Go hang a salami. I'm a lasagna hog.
Yes, you are.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Tuesday, November the 7th. And I mentioned that because tomorrow is Wednesday, November the 8th. And tomorrow at the Laugh Camp Comedy Club, there's a little something going on called the St. Paul Comedy All-Stars, where a whole bunch of funny folks are going to get together and have a great night. 2 of the gentlemen appearing tomorrow are in studio with us right now. 2 of the 12, I should say. Jesse the Shrink, who, wait for it, is a shrink, and Nate Hood are on hand in the studio. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the show. What, in fact, is this? Other than a funny night, what? Tell me about the St. Paul Comedy All-Stars and what led to this.
Hell yeah.
Get on the microphone. Get your right on there. Pull it down. You can adjust it. Get it right in your mouth. There you go.
All right, we got it. Well, thanks for having us on. Yeah, this is going to be amazing. Tomorrow night, St. Paul Comedy All-Star Show. It's at Laugh Camp Comedy Club downtown St. Paul.
Yep.
And me and Nate here, we came together. We were longtime St. Paul residents.
Okay.
And we have a passion for the city. And, there's so much attention that goes in the comedy scene over to Minneapolis, other side of the river, right?
Right.
And so we wanted to do something for our city.
Yeah.
And we wanted to bring together the best comedians in St. Paul because there's so many great comedians right now in St. Paul.
Okay, great.
So we put our heads together. We got all these comedians together, and tomorrow night we're doing it. Laugh Camp Comedy Club, celebration of the city.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I was told by a buddy of mine who grew up in the Twin Cities when I moved here. He said, yeah, "You're a St. Paul guy." And as it turns out, I currently live in Minneapolis, but the more I get to know St. Paul, I find myself leaning that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I think I might, and you already called me out on that too. So you guys are. This is. I wouldn't say my experience in the past year has not been that St. Paul is the it doesn't get short shrift. It's not the little brother city, but is there a bit of that mindset over there? Like you think like, oh, come on, man, we're cooler, and they just don't get it. Mm-hmm. Is that what's happening?
See, it's not just me from Minneapolis who is like that. St. Paulians are also like that.
No, you're the person who does look down on St. Paul. I'm saying most people don't.
Snob.
I found living in St. Paul for 7 years, we just wanted people to think that and not cross the river. You don't want to come over here. All the action's over there.
Okay.
We're just barely getting by over here with our sweet little neighborhoods.
All right, Nate, spell it out. What's the story?
Yeah, we wanted to capture the spirit of St. Paul, which is essentially that. We got a lot of great things going on, but please don't come over here.
That does sound like my kind of town. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So 12 comics, I mean, and was it the kind of thing where you just put out you send up the smoke signal and see who's available, or have you been planning? Did you have 12 people in mind, and was it kind of like this is our dream lineup and you took forever to get everybody there in the same night?
It was kind of a blend of both, to tell you the truth. This actually started years ago. I had a vision when I first started dabbling with stand-up comedy to do a show like this, right?
Okay.
And but I was nobody at the time. I was just an open micer. So I pictured someday this happening. And so over the last few years, as I've kind of had a little more success with comedy, I started to think, you know what, it might be time to do this pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I started to picture the Tiffany Nortons, who's one of our 5 headliners. That's the amazing thing. We got 5 headliners for this show, right? Which is so cool. So Tiffany Norton was already on my mind. Jeff Foser, Maggie Ferris, Elise Cole, Robert Brill, all these people. And I thought, if we could ever get these people all together someday, it would be amazing. Right. And so I started to think, you know what, I might be ready to put this show together if I can get all these people on board, but I might need some help. Nate Hood reaches out to me. And he goes, hey, man, we don't know each other that well, but we're both St. Paul, and I've been thinking, you want to do a St. Paul comedy show?
Really?
Hell yeah. I said, let me tell you the vision that I've been having. And from there, all of a sudden, we started to find out, hey, Allie Horman, she's St. Paul. Aaron Woldeselassie, he's St. Paul. Jesse Jacobs.
Right.
Mallory Manderfield. We got Jimmy Davis. We reached out, and all these people enthusiastically said, let's do it.
That's great. That's fantastic.
We knew that we were onto something because getting comics together is generally like herding cats. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Everybody here in this lineup was, wow, we love this vision. Let's do it.
That's fantastic. Nate, you describe yourself as an okay dad, a mediocre husband, a humble planning commissioner, and aspiring comic.
The one thing that's inaccurate is I'm not a very humble planning commissioner.
Right.
I think I'm a bad planning commissioner.
Oh, really?
Like, I really liked our mayor, Melvin Carter, until he appointed me to the planning commission.
Yeah, that'll get right in the way of a relationship.
I can't trust your judgment anymore. Sorry, Mayor.
No. So what sort of plans, what does that even entail, honestly?
We go through and we approve buildings. So if a building needs a variance, a conditional use permit, it's going to look ugly, we're going to hear about it, and we're going to either give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Okay, that doesn't sound fun at all. Neighbors are super chill. Yeah, that's right. They are. And Jesse the Shrink, literally a full-time therapist during the day. I know you have, what do you call it, vows or codes of ethics or whatever. You're not going to name names, but I mean, my God, if there's anything that's rich to mine for comic material, it's got to be listening to other people tell you what's wrong with them all day long.
It is comedy gold. I have been a legit shrink for 18 years.
Wow.
In the Twin Cities now. I have heard more than my share of stories.
Sure.
And yes, no vows, but HIPAA confidentiality.
That's what it was. Yeah, I knew it was something.
It's fine. No one listens to the show.
But hold on then. So this is okay. You're a therapist. You are. I mean, we can laugh about it, but I would assume you are making an honest effort towards helping people get some clarity, get whatever they're looking for, and that's truly the Lord's work. Then you're on stage and you're holding a microphone and you're being a comic. Please tell me you have looked out in the audience and seen a patient.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. And was the look on their face, did they know, or were they like, oh, my God?
Yeah. So the first time that happened, I was at House of Comedy in Mall of America.
Mm-hmm.
And it was their open mic night, and I'm sitting in the back, and I'm about to go up, and I look out into the crowd from behind, and I see there's a former client of mine.
Okay.
And I've never been in that situation, so I immediately go through the material. I'm about to go on stage. Right. And I'm like, oh my God. Well, okay, I think I should be good. So I go up on stage, and I'm telling myself, don't look at that person. Don't look at that person.
Yeah.
Which is like telling yourself, don't picture a pink elephant. Don't picture it. Right? And so before I know it, I'm mid-set and I just lock eyes on the person.
Of course.
And I'm like, and totally I can see it in their eyes, right? Where we had the, oh my God, you're here? You're here too? This is surreal.
And then, of course, you're thinking, do not say the word, whatever that word, like... Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
When you're in a session with a client, do you ever have to hold back the temptation to make some kind of smart-ass comment or joke? You have to hold back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if I should share this, but I will. One time I had a person say, Jesse, people have been literally walking all over me my entire life.
Okay.
I pictured shoe prints covering their entire body.
Of course you did.
You can't laugh at this, man.
Wow. I had a few years of therapy over the last 10 that were wonderful. Really helped me. I mean, talk about clearing out some cobwebs. It was the best thing I ever did. And I found it funny. I would be laughing at myself because sometimes you are in the middle of something and go, this is just like every bad movie I've ever seen, But there was a time when I was telling a story, an old family tale that I've told for years, and I'm laughing, and the look on the guy's face was sheer horror. and then I realized, like, oh, this is terrible. It's like, I thought this was a good story. I thought we were going to have some laughs. And, it was one of those moments. And I was like, I bet that happens to him all the time.
And then he's like, and how often do you use laughter to deflect?
Trust me.
Horrible feelings.
Yeah, it was a definite moment right there. The St. Paul Comedy All-Stars tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at Laugh Camp Comedy Club. You can go to camp-bar.net and get tickets. 12 comics, all from St. Paul, will be up and running tomorrow night. Seriously, what an effort, a Herculean effort to get 12 anybody to the same place at any time. Musicians, therapists, or carpenters. Good luck to you.
Right. Yeah.
So very well done. Do you either of you guys do you travel much, or do you get out to the rest of the country, or are you both working mostly locally, regionally? What's the status of both of your comic careers?
So I'll say for me, this year has been the first year I've launched outside of Minnesota.
Okay.
So a few months ago, I got to headline in Iowa.
Right.
And I've done a few shows now in Wisconsin.
Nice.
That is as far out as I have branched so far.
So, and you're not a kid. You're in your 40s. You're like you said. You've been a therapist or a shrink for 18 years. Has this always been in the back of your mind or the front of your mind? I mean, was it always like I want to do both, or was it I'm doing this one thing but I really want to do the other thing, or do you go back and forth?
Yeah, from the time I was a kid, I used to. So if we go back to the 80s, I used to stay up late at night watching stand-up on A&E's Evening at the Improv.
Right.
You ever see that? Showtime at the Apollo.
Okay.
And then Scott Hansen had a local show.
Okay.
And as a kid even, I would not only laugh, I would study. I would observe the art form. How do they do this?
Sure.
Someday I want to do this.
Yeah.
So throughout my life, I would have these everyday moments, and I would think, this would be an example of how I could use stand-up.
That makes sense.
I didn't think I was actually going to do it. I was going to be a therapist, and then I thought at this stage in life I would probably be married and have kids. And here I am, middle-aged and single.
Right.
And I thought, well, let's find something else to do here. Let's try the stand-up comedy thing. And here we are, and I'm at the KQRS studio.
The universe is telling me something.
Yeah.
All right, Nate. In between a dad and a husband and a really just a god awful city planning commissioner. What's your status right now? How long have you been doing comedy?
You know, I started comedy right out of college in 2003, 2004, and then gave it up. And then I kind of found myself coming out of COVID. I'm like, look, I got 2 young kids. At some point, I got to do something. And so I've been at it for about 2 years right now.
Nice.
And just been having an absolute blast.
Excellent. Yeah, obviously, I don't look at things like, oh, well, the silver lining of COVID. I mean, what a nutty thing to say in the grandest of schemes. But the truth is, what an impetus and what a kick in the ass for pretty much everybody I know for something. A lot of us had something they were like, oh, by God, I might as well do it now.
Yeah, and in the world of therapy, we call that a reframe.
Is that what we call that?
Silver lining, right? Reframe. Oh, this COVID thing sucks. Let's do a little reframe here.
Wow. Isn't that a Jay Giles? No, Freeze Frame is a Jay Giles band song. It's like, wow, they were way ahead of their time. That would be just like a band. You get a couple terms from therapy and suddenly you're a genius. Now I've got it all figured out. I'm going to write a song about it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how that goes. St. Paul Comedy All-Stars. I keep struggling with the word All-Stars. Not the concept, but simply saying it. St. Paul Comedy All-Stars. There you go. Tomorrow at Laugh Camp Comedy Club. You mentioned right away, you said, Minneapolis does get a lot of shine for being a great comedy town, but obviously St. Paul, no slacker in that regard. Because, we have just as many people from Laugh Camp coming through this station as any other club. You're not from St. Paul originally. You said, Jesse, you're from Brainerd. Mm-hmm. And what about you, Nate?
I'm from all the way down to Mankato.
Okay. That doesn't mean much to me.
South side.
Okay, South side. It's one I'm still learning. I got the map in my head and I kind of know where some things are. But so Brainerd, we were all up there last month. First time in Brainerd last month for me. Yeah. That's kind of God's country up there. That's right here in fairly, absolutely beautiful. Uh-huh. Yeah. And so then came down to the Twin Cities for college, to the big city.
Yeah, I came down here in 2000 to become a therapist, go to school. Figured I would then go back to Brainerd and set up a private practice. But, I stumbled upon this little city called St. Paul when I got down here.
Yeah, and that was it.
And I never went back, and it's been home ever since.
What do you guys love about the city? I'm a St. Paul Highland Park boy myself. What are some of your favorite joints?
Well, if we're talking Highland Park, it's Cecil's Deli, 100%.
Absolutely.
Really? Cecil's?
Yeah, work there in college.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm adding to the list.
Oh, I want that right now.
So good.
See, you want St. Paul food now? Okay.
Hey, I love St. Paul. I love going to St. Paul. I just have to live in Minneapolis.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So Jesse the Shrink, first concert you ever saw? What was it? Get on that mic. Say it loud and proud.
I'm pretty sure it was Cypress Hill.
Wow.
And House of Pain. At Roy Wilkins Auditorium, I think it was 1994.
That all checks out.
Yeah.
That all checks out. And Nate, yours?
I think it was the Warped Tour, 2001, 2002.
Wow.
It was a blast. I started off with a bang, and I don't think any concert's been as good since.
Wow, man. Where was that?
I think that was at the Excel. It was downtown St. Paul at the time.
Fair enough. Wow. Warped and then and Cypress Hill. So well, let's just cut to the chase. You were just stoned as a wiffle ball bat, weren't you?
I can tell you that on the drive from Brainerd to St. Paul,
yeah,
we had a
copious.
very large plastic bag of homegrown weed that you had to smoke a lot of, and we did.
Yeah.
And I remember when we walked past security into Roy Wilkins, we heard the security guys comment as they smelled us walk by.
Sure.
And then I thought it was hilarious because I looked up and I saw all of these no smoking signs.
Yeah.
And then the lights go down.
Oh, forget it.
And this huge, this fake hand comes out on stage, right? That's larger than a human. That's got a fake joint coming out of it as a prop.
Yeah.
And then the lights go down, and you see these cherries all over the auditorium, which are people smoking weed, and the entire place was just filled with smoke.
Yeah.
It's sad you don't see that anymore. You just see people's cell phones holding up high. I miss those days when somebody had a joint.
Right, but I think that is what it's going to look like tomorrow night at the St. Paul Comedy All-Stars.
Attaboy. It all comes back. St. Paul Comedy All-Stars. Jesse the Stoner, Jesse the Shrink, and Nate Hood, and 10 other great comics from St. Paul. Tomorrow night, November 8th at 7 p.m. at Laugh Camp Comedy Club. Gentlemen, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, that'll be a great night.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Tuesday, November the 7th. Last night, as we mentioned earlier in the show, last night, Tony Lee and I went to see the Minnesota Timberwolves. They defeated the Boston Celtics in overtime. First loss on the season for a very deep and very good Boston Celtics team. The T-Wolves are now 4-2. That's a solid team, a little better every year. And again, a big win early in the season. As much as you can have a signature win in early November, that was one. That's the kind of thing the team can build on. And all this to say, I really like sports. In fact, I like sports so damn much. I'm off to Nashville today to see a soccer game tonight. My Nashville SC will be playing against Orlando City in a playoff game.
Oh, fun.
First time ever seeing a playoff soccer game in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'll be going with my brother, Doug. He and I have been soccer fanatics our entire lives. And we moved to Kentucky at a time when our school played soccer and we had to drive at least 70 miles to get to another team. All of our games were at least an hour away.
Oh, funny.
Most of them were 2 hours away in Louisville or Evansville, Indiana, or Nashville, Tennessee. Very, very few teams in Kentucky then played. And we're going to the game tonight, and we are literally talking about it yesterday on the phone, and we're just emotional about it.
You're just kidding. Are you going to gear up your fanboy apparel?
No, not so much. I mean, I got a T-shirt. I might, if I find it before I run to the airport, I'll put it on. But the idea of like we've been and so the team this is their second year in the new stadium. We've both been to a lot of games, but not together. And it's just the idea of 48 years ago when we moved down there. If you'd said there's going to be pro soccer in Nashville one day, that would have been like telling me you'll have a phone and you can have something called FaceTime. I would have been like, there's no way that's going to happen, but it's happening tonight. And I'm really excited about it.
That's great.
You guys were soccer fans back when you used to take some grief for it.
Oh,
I
God,
mean, when I was growing up in the 1980s, if someone played soccer, we had foreign exchange students that would come over and they played soccer, and we just, bullied them relentlessly for it.
Of course.
So, we just didn't know any better. We were told that, that just wasn't an American sport. We don't play soccer around.
Yeah.
And then they would call it football. Yep. Blasphemy.
Total blasphemy.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys weathered the storm, and now, every once in a while. Well, for me, it was the U.S. women's team. When the U.S. women's team 20 years ago, I don't know, something like that. Seems like a long time ago. I was like, yeah, he's pretty good. And I watched it literally maybe a dozen games without understanding one damn rule. Mm-hmm. I understood what a lot of my friends would do, and we'd go to football games. And I'd be like, well, you see there when the running back splits out like that, they're calling the coverage, and they'd be like, yeah, well, whatever. How many beers can we drink in 4 quarters? So, but yeah, you guys have weathered the storm, and now it's a pretty big deal. I mean, I know the local women's professional team, the Aurora, they sold out their season.
Yeah, man. I've like I said, first sport I ever played, loved the game my whole life, and I have had plenty of friends who were soccer jerks, as I call them. because they would walk around like, yeah, it's the world's most popular sport. It's going to take over America one day. I was never that guy because I always thought, like, it's never going to take over America. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And as it has become, it's not going to replace hockey or baseball. It just means there's the big four sports. It's now just number 5. There's 5 big sports now. And that has happened. That's true. Look at Minnesota United. They didn't have a great season this year, but a year ago they were right in the thick of it. And it's a rabid fan base, and it's the most played youth sport in America. Still, like more kids play soccer than baseball or basketball, and it's because you got 11 kids. But the main reason is you got 1 ball and 2 goalposts. It's pretty cheap.
You got to make it to a United game. It's so much fun. Just the energy, the spirit. No,
I'm looking forward to it. But my Nashville SC going up tonight against Orlando City. Great big underdog, but what the hell? We'll see what happens. And so, but I was thinking about it so I'm excited about that. But last night at the game, and I was telling this to you, Tony, I'm so happy to be in a town with the NBA again because I went for years. I went 18 years in Nashville, no NBA. I had to go to Memphis or Atlanta to see a game. And to have that team right around the corner now, it's really exciting for me to have United, the Viking. I love Josh Dobbs. I mean, basically what I'm saying is it's all kind of lining up for old Stevie boy here.
Oh, yeah, Homer.
I think it's, I'm over it. I think that you really did deserve to go to that game with Tony last night.
Well, it's a treat to spend time with me.
See, well,
I want to know.
It is, and see, this is a perfect example of me. This is a perfect example of me mentioning it repeatedly just to rub it in your face, and then you pulling out a feather and saying, "No, it was good. The two of you guys had a great time." See. Isn't that nice?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I come in from a different angle. I'm like, thank God they're doing stuff together, so they'll leave me alone.
See, this is but we are well into just a beautiful relationship around here.
It's like a family.
It is like a family. Depending on the occasion, who do I want to see?
Who's the hit man?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'm the crazy uncle that wants my head made into an ashtray.
That's still pretty fantastic. Got to be honest with you. I made an ashtray. I tried to make an ashtray in wood shop in 5th grade.
Clay?
Ashtray made out of wood?
Yeah, and
something very flammable.
It was just like lacquer. It's just a wood. Okay. It's like a burl. What do you call? It's like you just processed it like crazy and then put some stuff on there. And
some of that flammable lacquer, yeah.
It was whatever it was. It was. All I know is this. Whatever I thought it would be a good thing to make an ashtray. My dad was back on the Terryton kick, and he'd rather fight than switch. So I figured, get the man. All I know is this. What started in my mind as an ashtray turned out to be just a clump of something with 3 little hooks in it. And I said, it's a belt. You can hang your belts on this. I was definitely not wood shop material.
No, you and I are the same way. I made bookends, a B and a Z. Get it? And they wouldn't stand up. They were so bad. I remember Mom trying to prop them up and put a few books between them. And I'm like, Ma, forget about it. I'm not going to be a carpenter. It's not my thing.
Yeah. No, it was tough. But, it's funny because the same year I was in wood shop in 5th grade, first year in Kentucky, I also, because I was a soccer player, dominated lunchtime kickball.
Oh, yeah.
And I could kick from either foot. And I could go instep or outstep. I could place the ball like with laser precision. So people were like, I was like a kickball freak for 5th grade.
I love kickball.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I also loved playing kickball. I was like, why do we outgrow this? Why is there men's league softball?
There are leagues, adult leagues for kickball.
We had a KQ kickball team up until maybe about 10 years ago.
Believe, sign me up.
Let's do it.
I am not making it. This is not just me saying this because I think it's funny on the radio. I will full on play kickball.
You
anytime.
Guys should
blast.
Do it. Totally.
We need a coach. And we need a coach, Brian. But I need you to wear those coaching shorts that I don't know if they make them anymore, with the 4 snaps instead of like a zipper.
I'll find them on eBay.
And a whistle. Just please blow a whistle at the inappropriate times.
I only have one word as a coach.
What's that?
Laps.
Oh,
Let's get them going.
No, we'll find another.
Wheeler, give me a lap.
Did you ever play big bass? in school.
What?
Big bass.
So the wind
that sounds like a game they invented, so nobody could get their feelings hurt.
Yeah, for the
It was a
unathletic
Richfield
kids.
thing.
Everybody stands on the same big bass.
Yeah, actually, that's what
And
happened.
push each other off.
That's what it is, yeah.
Oh, and you try to push each other off.
Yeah,
Kind of
it
a king
gets
of the hill
really-
thing
yeah.
without all that climb. All right, I can kind of dig that. Sure.
Oh man, that's
Sharp elbows.
That's unbearable. All right,
You're unbearable, Steve Gorman.
I'll have a full report. I'll have a full report on my unbearably emotional soccer game tonight in the morning tomorrow. But between now and then, it's time. On this day in 1991, Magic Johnson announced he was retiring from basketball after having tested positive for the virus that causes AIDS. That is 32 years ago, and I can remember that as if it were yesterday, literally. Staring at the TV, I couldn't breathe. He was my favorite player, and that went back to his Michigan State days. And I grew up a Michigan fan, but I watched him at Michigan State and was like, I don't care. I'm on Michigan State's team for a couple years here.
Yeah,
loved him from the minute I first saw him play.
Grew up a Sixers fan, so not a huge fan like you were, but, how do you not love Magic Johnson and the Larry Bird years and going all the way back to college? So, I mean, he was an icon while he was still playing, especially in the 90s. And I remember that. I only remember like 3 or 4 stories, as a kid. The Miracle on Ice, John Lennon getting shot, John Belushi, and then... Yeah, I mean, it stopped everything. It's all you talked about when it happened.
Absolutely. And, of course, in 1991, the idea that he would still be here 32 years later that didn't even seem remotely possible.
Right.
So, thankfully, he is and by the way, the worst Twitter account in the history of Twitter is Magic Johnson. It's still hilarious stuff. Yeah, he will watch a game, and his tweets after a game will be like, the Lakers won big today. LeBron had 31 points. Like, that's a tweet. Like, yeah, we know. It's just he just tweets. It's like the most obvious thoughts. It's always been really funny to me.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.